Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here today. Frankly, we need your help because we're in a crisis in the state of Florida from our legislators. The county governments are facing it. The school districts face it. Every school district in the state of Florida is facing financial difficulty because of our legislators right now. And so I'm here not only as President of the Support Personnel Association, but I'm here to speak on behalf of the teachers and the support personnel. I don't know if you understand that at the present time that because of the budget crisis the way it is, the district has to, we actually had to send back $32.4 million to the state of Florida because of a loss of growth, which has brought us back to the bargaining table. There's not a whole lot we can do about it this year, but there is something we do next year. And here's where I need the help of the NAACP, and hopefully will become partners with us. And it's called a campaign called Take a Stand. When I speak to you, I'm going to speak to you primarily for support staff, because they're going to be the most ones affected. I'm devastated over the predicament that the legislators has placed us in. The insensitivity and the thoughtfulness and the wherefore of everyday people. The Support Staff Association represents more than 4,000 employees in this community. And we do an important job for the school district. We prepare the healthy meals for our children while they're at school. We maintain and clean the buildings. We're the staffers of the office. When you call the office, you need a secretary, you're talking to a support staff. We're the transportation people that transport your students. We're the transportation mechanics that keep the buses running. By the way, during hurricane season, you definitely need us. We're the clinic aides. We're the painters. We're the plumbers. We're the groundskeepers. We're the carpenters. We're the electricians. We're the bookkeepers. We're the teachers' assistants that give the individual help to the child. We're the professionals, and we are the specialists, the technicians that take care of the computers. That's who we are. Support personnel provide support so that our teachers can do a vitally important work of educating our children. It's a team. It's a team, people. It's a huge team. It takes a team to educate a child. Everything we do in Lee County Schools boosts the community involvement in our future, which is the education of our children. These budget cuts that are a short-sighted solution that will cause great harm in Lee County. What makes it more difficult for our students to operate in many ways, and it's really very apparent, cutbacks means fewer bus routes. It means that our schools won't be as clean as often as they should be. It means longer waits for classroom repairs. Fewer teacher assistants to help our children. It'll take us longer to answer the phones when someone calls and wants information about their child. We're dedicated to our children. We want to see our children succeed. I think every one of you agree with that. But the professionals of Support Personnel Association already faces great difficulties making ends meet in the Lee County school system because of lower than average salaries, out-of-sight housing costs, record gas prices, and skyrocketing cost of living in Southwest Florida. Some of these employees, these cutbacks will spell disaster and losses of jobs. This concerns all of us, and it should concern you. It should concern every single one of you. We have a plan. We, the citizens of Lee County, need to take a stand, and I literally mean take a stand, against these decisive and destructive budget cutbacks. We need to talk these situations to your friends. Write letters to the editor. Write the governor. I have. It's okay to write to the governor and tell him what he's doing is wrong. Tell our legislative delegation they need to support public education, fund education in this county adequately. We have started a petition at the present time, and it's time to take a stand. And I think some of you notice I'm wearing a button. We have buttons to share with you, and we have petitions to share with you. We would like you to take the petitions back, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and get them to sign a petition. We intend to take this petition to the governor and to the legislators and show them that the people are speaking out, and we want our legislators to finally fund education in an adequate fashion. We don't want to go backwards. I don't think you want to go backwards. And we're not going to go backwards if we take a stand. One final note. The fundamental foundation to democracy in the United States is education. Right now, the way the funding cutbacks are being imposed on us, we are actually undermining the fundamental foundation which made this nation great. We hope you will support us. Thank you.
We are doing this because there was a little bit of offset as to the time the food would be served. And of course, we don't want to just waste the time. So we're going to get this out of the way. When the food comes, then we'll be able to go on and enjoy our meal. I'm being given a note here that probably says something along that line. All right. So okay. Dr. Where did I start? Dr. Stark from ACLU have some important items that he should bring forward. Dr. Stark, thank you.
My name is Matthew Stark. I live in Eagle Ridge Lakes, just south of Daniels. I'm a member of the Lee County branch of the NAACP, and I'm a member of the National Advisory Council of the American Civil Liberties Union. And I was delighted that the Florida Civil Liberties Union has sent us today a distinguished executive director, Howard Simon. And the reason that he and I and others are here goes way back into the early 60s when Julian Bond, whom you all know, introduced me to Dr. Martin Luther King in Selma. And thereupon I spent the next 2 or 3 years working very closely with the good Dr. King. And many people have forgotten what he was interested in. And he was interested in getting the right to vote for all his people. That was the crucial issue. He would say, give my people the right to vote. Pull them into the government. We are not against the government of the United States of America. We want to become more fully involved. And as you give my children the right to vote, they will do the right thing. And we have seen that taking place throughout this country. The NAACP is seen by the ACLU as one of its major allies. As soon as the ACLU takes a position, we go running to the NAACP and talk with them about it, because the chances are great that the NAACP and the ACLU will be in agreement, and we work very, very closely together. And one of the major issues now is to make sure that all government employees function under the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution. And the right of people to have appeals of what's happened to them in regard to the government is essential. And the NAACP knows that, and the ACLU knows that. The Florida Civil Liberties Union looks forward to working with you all in our joint effort to make sure that people have the right of appeal. And I'm delighted that Lee County, our commissioners are here with us today, and we look forward, the ACLU, to working closely with the NAACP in this regard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. It's always been the policy of the NAACP, wherever it were a civil rights problem, to be there. Here in Lee County, upon my 7th term, there were a gentleman who had served along beside me for quite a number of years. And I know you miss him here today. We were known as the Willies.
Yeah.
Some of the politicians said that when we walked in the room, you get the Willies. He's not with us today. He's younger than I am, but I guess he wore out faster than I. He wore his legs out, and they have had to replace some of his joints. I want you, those of you who have reasons or may have knowledge of how important prayer is, to pray for him. And those of you who do not have prayer knowledge or prayer connection, wish him well. If he were here today, you would notice him. Most likely he would be walking around here taller than any of us with his hat on. I even wore my hat today in remembrance of him. I normally don't wear a hat, but having him on my mind this morning, I got up and put on my hat. My wife was wondering what in the world going wrong with him. But I want you to wish Mr. Bell, as I know him, Willie Bell, well, and pray for him that he will be with us soon. And Mr. Thomas, who have been very instrumental and keeping touch with, and I don't even call my wife when she's sick, so I'm not a good person. My wife disciplines me constantly about not checking on people when they're sick or unable to, but I just don't like bad news, and it really bothers me when I talk to someone that can't function like I'm functioning, so I just prefer not to talk with them, but I don't get that's one of my good features that may be a bad one. And so she referred to me a few days ago, my last evening, you need to talk to Mr. Bell. And I think I was happy when I called and his phone was busy. I didn't have to talk. But Mr. Thomas constantly talked, and he is a good communicator. There's nothing Mr. Thomas likes better than talking on the telephone. He usually wake me up in the morning and talk me to sleep at night. So, he have been in constant church with him, and I'm sure things are well with him. Mr. Thomas is also the author of the NAACP effort along with the ACLU and the Citizens for a Better Fort Mile. And I'm just asking that you will join us in this effort to get this petition finished up. This was started some time ago, and we were busy doing other things, and we were not on board. I want you to know that we're solidly on board now. And once the NAACP is on board, we're on board. Our young people is gathering petitions from all sorts. If they call upon you at your workplace, at your place of worship, or wherever you are, your home, take a few minutes out to help them to help you. Yes, it may not be you today, but it could well be you tomorrow. If you would have asked some of the individuals who have met with the utmost price of giving up their life, will it be you next? They most likely would have said no, but we never know. And dying is not bad, but dying in vain is bad. I tell people I don't particularly worry about too much about dying as much as I want what did I die for? And I really don't just want to die for nothing. And just because I'm walking down the street, because somebody happened to believe that I pose a threat when I have on nothing but my clothes, no weapon or anything. When that kind of situation happens, you need somebody that sees it right to examine the situation and make the right decision. Here in Fort Miles, we have not been able to get that those kinds of individuals to examine the situation. So that's what this petition is all about. It's about getting, one, a law put on the book that will have our politicians, have the city itself to obey it, and of course then people will, from your community, people from, a person from each of the 6 wards will run for office. We don't know if they're going to be paying positions yet. Mr. Thomas hasn't been able to explain that to me. I keep telling him I've got enough free jobs, but this looks like another free one is state and so forth. Maybe we can turn it into pay. I can remember when the county commission, Brother Frank, didn't pay much, but it's a pretty good job now. I remember when I came in this town, Brother Paget, carrying the county checkbook in the trunk of his car with no money in the bank, even if he'd have wanted to pay. But we do all right now. We can buy ranches and all kinds of things now that we don't even need, but we do all right now. Mr. Thomas is going to be collecting those petitions. I'm saying this because I've had a number of phone calls who have had a problem with it. I have written letters to give to the individuals who are getting the petition from our youth department, and I've asked them, but they're young people, to give that letter to the individuals first so that they'll know that it's coming from President Green. Not always does this happen and then I get phone calls. I'm saying this so you can help me to tell the community it's all right to sign the petition because it is coming from the NAACP and it does have the approval not only of the president but of the executive committee. And now we want to get the job done. And I apologize if you have not gotten that impression in the past, but that is what's going on now. We're going to hold a news conference today after this meeting to further inform the community that it is the Lee County NAACP and connecting with the Lee County NAACP Youth Council that is circulating the petition along with the support of ACLU, that's that other organization, ACLU, and the Citizens for a Better Fort Miles. But the NAACP is taking a leading role, and we are out to get the job done in a speedy manner. Please, ma'am, and please, sir, help us to get it done. Help us to help you. That's just what the letter said, and I'm saying it to you. And go tell your friends and your neighbors that quickly sign the petition. Quicker the better. We're about 2/3 of the way there, but the other third is keeping us from getting there. I believe that the food is supposed to be served at 12:30. Am I right, committee?
Correct.
We're about 14 minutes away from that. I know that, and I never.
About 8 minutes.
About 8 minutes. You sure? I've got it. Okay. I'll stand correct. Maybe it could be my eyes. I gotta put it on something. I would never allow Commissioner Brian Bigelow to come to a meeting without saying more than just hello. Yeah. There are some other commissioners who are good too. Now, Frank and I go back further than we want anybody to know. But Brian is a young fellow that when I call upon his office, and I usually call upon all of them at the same time, he's the first to answer. He answers, and he will do whatever he can with his itinerary to make certain that he help us with the NAACP. For he, like I, knows how important it is to keep the torch burning, because freedom is not free. And except you and I participate in a financial manner, there won't be any freedom. I so often say that OJ proved to us, ever how much money you got, that's how much freedom you can buy. Bigelow, words.
Bring Brother Bigelow.
Well, you know, I was always taught that age before beauty.
Oh, no. You're the district commissioner for this fine group.
Can I turn this off? There you go. Since I don't have anything prepared, I don't need the light. But, well, you know, I did know or expect that I would be asked to offer some comments, and really kind of described it best, our relationship. When he calls, I know it's time for Muhammad to go to the mountain. and he called recently to put this on my calendar. Thank you for that. You guess I want to kind of pick up where Mr. Simon not left off, but he made mention of 1960s as a period of my life, actually the beginning of my life. I was born November 30th, 1963. That's within 1 week's period of time of the assassination of JFK. So if you think about that, I kind of was born into enlightenment through, retelling of stories and my own experiences with my own family members who would use the N-word as if it was just, another word, not a word that was offensive. And it was odd for me. My grandmother, a white woman naturally, who couldn't say pregnant in public, she'd have to say, "Oh, she's PG." Okay, what's up with that? And there was other words you couldn't say in public, similar to that, but I guess because it was sexual content. But she could use the N-word. Now that was because she was born in 1917, and it was part of her, family's vocabulary. But I'll never forget when I was at a restaurant, Biff Burger.
I remember
Biff Burger, the corner of
Llewellyn and Cleveland.
Llewellyn, or on the other side, that's right. And she was complaining because a black person had touched her hamburger. You could see the cook's rib. And it was mostly occupied at that moment by people not white. And I remember the shock on the face of a lot of people, and I'll never forget how I felt. I mean, I felt like, oh my God, that word is not a word you can use without offending people. I remember feeling it very deeply. And we would talk about it. I'd talk to my father, and he would, share with me, because I have to admit, it's the first time I had ever really heard the word in a way that, resonated with me. And I learned a lot from that experience, as difficult as it was. I had a lot of talks with my grandmother. Now, I don't use this story from my grandmother, who I cared for in the last days of her life, because she suffered from Alzheimer's, loved her dearly. She was a hero of mine. She was dealing with, history that she didn't create. She was, a product of it. And yet, I feel some sense of responsibility to try to heal wounds that were caused by the use of that word, and sentiments that are still felt today by white folks with respect to people of color, not just black people, people of foreign descent that are here, who are Hispanic and of Caribbean descent. And I feel like it's calling for me to point out that we've got a long way to go, folks.
Right.
I'm 44 years old, born 1963, and I'm trying to figure out, it looks to me like Martin Luther King, like Dr. King, made a whole lot of progress before I was even arrived on this planet. And yet 44 years have gone by, and I'm using a measuring stick trying to figure out what really is the progress we've made. And I have to be honest with you, I sometimes wonder if the dream is just barely alive. If it's not a candle in the wind, and the winds are growing stronger and the candle is growing weaker. I say that not to say that the dream isn't worthwhile. I don't want to see the candle blow out. But I think we need to bring some new energy to that candle. I think we need to enlighten people in ways that unsettle them. We need to be provocateurs. We need to speak truth to power. We need to stir the pot. We need to do what causes people to stop, feel, and then think, and do something differently. And I could share some experiences in my 15 months as a county commissioner that troubled me greatly. Willie and Willie, the Willies, along with Anthony Thomas, showed up. Is that him? He wasn't smiling at me. I don't know if he was. I did something wrong. Anyway, they showed up and asked the county commission in the way that we require folks to talk to us when we're at the meeting as a board. It's an item that's not on the agenda, came and asked very respectfully if we might consider doing three things. One is to remove the portrait that is overhead of the dais in the County Commission chambers, because it's a portrait of Robert E. Lee. And for some people, it's an offensive portrait. And I thought it was a reasonable request. It wasn't asking us to burn it. They were asking us to consider moving and putting something else there. Secondly, they asked that we consider making a 7-member body rather than a 5-member body, thinking that with more representation, there's a better chance that folks who are not white would have a shot at taking a seat on the board. And thirdly, asked that we name a building in honor of Martin Luther King. And again, I think that's a reasonable request. Basically, we all, 5 commissioners, gave a little bit of soundbite to it, and in total sent them packing. Another time, we wrestled with the issue of the demographics of the county staff. It's a known fact that, okay, I need to wrap up, I guess somebody's giving me the watch. It's a known fact that the county staff is very male and very white, and it's my estimation that if we don't find a way to make the staff more emblematic of the community at large, in other words, give people a seat at the table, as Tracy Battle said in her campaign for mayor of Fort Myers, we don't get the benefit of that way of life, that view that doesn't come from a white person. You know, I can't know life as a black person, I can't know life as a Hispanic person, but they can. They're uniquely qualified to bring to the table a way of life, experiences that are different than white people. But when we're too male, too black, and it also goes for women's point of view, they live life through different eyes than men do, and we need more women. We need to equalize that. And anyway, so Minority Affairs Boards, led by the Hispanic Advisory Board, led an initiative to try to get the County Commission to understand this problem, and they had a solution, which was to offer or hire a diversity officer. Again, with all due respect, I think we sent them packing. Folks, you know, I tend to speak truth to power. I'm marginalized on the Board of County Commissioners for that. Maybe Commissioner Mann's swirling his seat, but I believe I think he's reachable. I know he is. But it all comes down to 3 votes on a 5-member body. We're in an election year. I don't think I need to, paint the picture any more than that. You got to kick this door down because the door's closed. It's locked tight down at the county courthouse. Where are you? I'm asking you. Come out, make yourself known, rattle cages, and speak truth to power, and you're going to be heard. And people will say, hey, let's just quiet down and get along. Don't accept it, you know. I'm asking you, please, send the cavalry. We need some help. I need some help. I believe I can say to some degree, I think Commissioner Mann would agree with me that we got to have the 3rd vote, folks, and it's going to come if you put pressure through the ballot box or through efforts to change the minds of the current county commissioners. Now, maybe I'm speaking a little too much and you're feeling it down here. Well, I think that's where Martin Luther King felt it, right? He felt it here. And he felt that pain, and he moved himself to do things that made a big difference. And I'm asking you, if you feel it, then let's get our minds and our bodies in action and make some changes. And I'm trying to gently, politely, civilly push. We need some serious changes in here. I don't want to die and not think that there have been significant changes in the race relation problem in Lee County, because I tell you, simply put, there is a race relation problem that's as huge as the county itself. And I hope that we can make some inroads in that regard, at least sooner than later. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Committee, are you ready?
We are ready.
All right.
We would like to start with the two tables to my left first. If you would get up and proceed over to the food line, and it's self-serve. And after which,
Thomas get to go first. What do you do?
the next table here to my left, where our membership chairman is standing, and this sweetie, and Mrs. Green. And then the table following Mr. Sapp and President Green.
Willie get his new parts. So he's still on the mend.